Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, True Crime Files, and I'm Kathy. You have to excuse the glitches of these green screens. Tomorrow I will be setting up a stand to go behind me, and hopefully I'll stop disappearing and like my dog's bed appearing there. And I put the dog's bed on top of my bed because then it stops her from ruining my bed sheet. So maybe if I sit this way, you won't see it so much. I just disappear part of the screen. But today's episode is a TV celebrity, Taylor Frankie Paul. Now, I don't know her because obviously it's done in Utah and I'm in the UK. But I don't condone any type of domestic violence. Majority of the time, it's men doing it to women. But there are a lot of cases where the tables turn and it's women against the men. Now, all I can say is if you're in a situation where this is real for you at home, my message to you would be is to record it. And that, because recording is, the power. It gives you evidence and it proves what you say is what happened. Years ago, when I was in a relationship and my partner was abusive to me, in many ways, more than one, I wish mobile phones were out then, because then I could have recorded it. But the only time you would have been able to record it if you had one of those recording devices, like a dictaphone, I think they're called. But I really wished I'd thought ahead of that. But in these days of times, everyone's got mobile phones. So just click record on it because, it's your proof that's what's happening to you is happening to you. So this goes for men and the women out there that are suffering from BV. So a little bit about who Taylor Frankie Paul is. Taylor Frankie Paul is a Utah-based social media personality, and she's also a reality figure who became widely known through The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and was later announced as the lead for Bachelor Season 22. Her public image shifted dramatically after a series of DV incidents leaked, and the 23 video surfaced earlier this month in March 2026. The leading ABC channel had to cancel her season just days before it was due to go on air. Now, I've seen the video, but I haven't seen all of it, sort of thing, if that makes sense. So I'll just share this with you, make sure it's on full screen. But I always draw the line when children or animals are hurt in the crossfire. Now, her child was hurt in the crossfire. I know she didn't deliberately mean to hurt the child, but she never seemed to pick up the child or cuddle the child and say it's all right, soothe the baby afterwards. So that is bad, and I think she should be done on child endangering charges. I don't know if that's a thing over there, but with us over here, it would be like GBH, which is grievous body assault or grievous body harm, I should say. I can't put my flipping teeth in my mouth today. So I'll just go ahead and play this video. Warning, if you are in this situation and it disturbs you, please look away. Don't listen to it. Because some people might get triggered. I did a story a few weeks ago on DV, and it wasn't until I was reading the whole story out, it really affected me to my heart. But hopefully, because this is a woman doing it to a man, it's not going to affect me as much. So anyway, let's chat. Here we go.
Great shocking video shows reality star Taylor Frankie Paul in the midst of a true meltdown.
You can't see it, can you? Hang on. Let's go back. Good job I came back into StreamYard to find out, wasn't it? Otherwise, you'd be looking at my mug all the time, and you don't want to be doing that. Far from it. Right.
Your daughter is raped.
Shocking video shows reality star
at that
Taylor
chat.
Frankie Paul in the midst of a true meltdown, attacking her then boyfriend in front of their kids.
This is called physical abuse.
And the video is so shocking that just 3 days before her season of The Bachelorette was set to premiere, ABC pulled the plug.
Oh my gosh.
This is Scandal, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Please go to Scandal.
This season of The Bachelorette was one of the most anticipated yet because it featured a major reality star in the title role. I mean, you know Taylor Frankie Paul from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the once famous TikTok Mormon swinger mom. You may even recognize her from this 2023 body cam that went viral right here on Law and Crime.
All I know is that I was so scared that I peed my pants. He pushed me into it. I reacted, sure.
But we're now getting a closer look at what happened behind the closed door. Actual video of the fight that led to Taylor's domestic violence conviction. And get this, since its release yesterday, just 3 days before The Bachelorette was supposed to premiere, ABC canceled the season. And honestly, can you blame them?
Dude, leave me alone.
If you're interested in cases like this one, we're talking top true crime news, body cams, interrogations, and even deep dives into some of the most scandalous of cases, then make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything. Now, onto the case of Taylor Frankie Paul. Today's scandal takes us to Draper City, Utah, the current home of Taylor Frankie Paul.
Hi guys, we are going to be prepping for my kids because for those of you that know, I'm a divorced parent, so I do like a prep day before my kids come for the weekend. I already have them because I got them a day earlier than I thought. So we are still going to go get groceries and prep for the weekend.
Taylor rose to fame on TikTok after saying her ex-husband, Tate Paul, filed for divorce when she broke the rules in their soft swinging relationship.
Did you sleep with him or just kiss him?
I slept with him.
And that kind of catapulted.
I'm sorry, but here in the UK, if you're swinging, you're having intimate relations with the person that you're swinging with. That's to my understanding. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on it, but because I've never done it. But I think the whole idea of swinging is you swap partners, and when you swap partners, you basically are free to do what you want to do. Maybe these two had a different type of contract where maybe swinging in their eyes was just cuddling and maybe a bit of kissing or, you know, touching. I don't know. But carry on anyway.
Taylor into the public eye. At first, she was known for her TikToks showing her and other Mormon swinger moms. That caught on, and eventually they became the subject of the hit reality show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Season 1 of the show premiered on September 6th, 2024, and it hit the ground running, discussing and even showing body camera recordings from this incident that happened on February 17th, 2023.
I'm emotionally hurting. I'm not physically hurting. I'm emotionally hurting.
Okay.
So here's what happened. Taylor and her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen, got into an argument. Things got so heated that the neighbors overheard the fighting and called police. The body camera video went public in May of 2023, and I reported on it way back then. It gained a lot of traction for multiple reasons. But for starters, Taylor was noticeably drunk in the video.
How do you spell your first name?
T-Y-O-R.
Just go ahead and just focus on breathing.
Is that real tears or crocodile tears?
Okay, go ahead.
So Taylor, right?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
P-A-U-L.
Have you had a little bit too much to drink tonight? I can smell the alcohol pretty strong.
Sure, but not anything crazy. I went out on a girls' night and I came home. Safe driving.
Taylor was later charged with 1 felony count of aggravated assault, 2 felony counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child, 1 misdemeanor count of child abuse, and another misdemeanor count of criminal mischief. So that wasn't a little thing. However, Taylor kind of made it go away, at least in part, when she reached a plea deal in August of 2023. So Taylor pleaded guilty to the aggravated assault charge, so the rest of the charges were dismissed. Her sentence was essentially probation, meaning she had to meet with a caseworker, undergo any sort of court-mandated treatment, and not use any drugs or alcohol. And this probation period was set to last until August 2026, so a couple months from now. If Taylor complied with all of these directions put forth by the court and didn't get into any more trouble, her felony would be reduced to a Class A misdemeanor. And there may be some issues with that given new allegations wagered against her from just this year, but I'll get into all of that in a minute. The next big thing I want to note from this 2023 is that the inside of Taylor's home is not shown. She's interviewed outside and you see all of that, but literally the second an officer walks inside, it goes black.
Please.
Can you promise not to talk to him while we go in there?
Sure.
I just don't want anything escalating to an argument or fight while we go in there. Okay? Okay, let's go.
So for years, no one really knew what happened inside of the home until yesterday. And that's when this cell phone video was leaked and we saw what led up to the police call.
Yeah, look at you. Look. Hon, you think this is okay? Not okay.
There's a lot to unpack in this video, but let me explain why we're not playing it in full. Honestly, it's violent. You can see Taylor actually throwing what looks like a metal chair at Dakota in the video. And she's been convicted of aggravated assault because of this incident, so it happened.
Your daughter is raped. Oh my gosh.
But what's more is that Taylor's children were there and witnessed this fight. And when she tried to throw the chair at Dakota, it actually hit her daughter.
Your daughter just got hit in the head with a metal chair. No, you. Go and help your daughter. Now. Help your daughter, Taylor.
According to TMZ, Taylor didn't mean to hit her daughter with the chair. She just threw it toward Dakota and it deflected and hit the girl. But authorities would later check her out. She had a bump or a bruise on her head from the chair. And by the way, at the time, she was only 6 years old. And it's even more disturbing that Dakota seems to be the only one really concerned about the little girl's safety.
You okay? Taylor!
Over Taylor's screams, Dakota.
You would think he would try and take the kids out of the house and away from her because, in my opinion, the longer he stays and the more he talks to her, the worse she's going to get.
Continues to show concern for the kids.
I don't care. I love your kids. Yeah, I do. I freaking love them to death.
The video in full is only about 3 minutes long, and it ends with police arriving on the scene.
Yeah. I will. She's hammered. And so is he. I'm sober.
It's interesting now to see exactly what happened inside and then to pair that with the body cam of first responders getting to the scene, because when they do go to ring the doorbell, you can hear Taylor and Dakota yelling from inside.
Let me know if you make contact on everybody.
Contact at the front door.
Stop.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh my gosh.
Nothing.
Again, you can hear it from outside. Of course, their neighbors are going to call 911.
911, what is the city and address of your emergency?
First, there's like domestic violence, like somebody is screaming, like, get off me. There is like a woman screaming. There's like the garage door keeps opening and shutting. It sounds like she's trying to get out.
Okay.
And now that we've seen the video from inside of the home, it's worth noting that Taylor points the finger at Dakota when talking to police.
What did I do wrong? So I can help myself. What did I do wrong? Help me to know so I can do better.
Well, it's not Taylor, look at me. Well, it's not that you did anything wrong per se. We are just, the neighbors called in thinking that someone's getting hurt.
No one's getting hurt. I'm just emotionally hurt because I'm doing divorce and I'm just hurt.
Is that,
Drama queen.
What?
oh,
Huh?
thank you. Is that what's going on tonight that started everything?
Yeah, I'm emotionally super hurt. I can't help anyone. I'm just so hurt emotionally. I'm sorry. Can I get a drink of water? I'm just really
Sure, I don't want a cat meowing at me.
I can get my husband to come get the kids if that's easier. I don't know what he wants from me. I don't want anyone that wants from me. I'm just so hurt.
So tell me what happened tonight.
He pushed me in the garage and it's fine. I don't give a I just want to move on. I don't give a about him. I just want to move on. I don't care. I pushed him. I hit him. He pushed me. I don't want to think about it.
So we know what happens. Taylor's arrested. She's charged. It ends up with a plea. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives features that exact incident in their very first episode, and the show completely takes off. Right now, their 4th season is airing. The show and Taylor get so much attention that ABC announces Taylor Frankie Paul is going to be the next Bachelorette on their hit series. And that new season was set to premiere on Sunday, March 22nd. But just days before that, on March 17th, 2026, Dakota filed a temporary protective order against Taylor. According to TMZ, this stems from an incident that happened back in February of this year. Dakota alleges the first part of this happened on February 23rd at Taylor's home. Dakota says Taylor allegedly choked him, shoved him into a window, and hit him. Dakota says he had to remove Taylor's hands from around his neck. And this entire incident was allegedly so loud that it woke up their young son, Ever. Dakota says he tried to go back to sleep with Ever, but Taylor, quote, aggressively pulled the blankets off them and made the little boy wake up and start crying. Dakota says he called 911, but that Taylor manipulated him and pressured him to tell the dispatcher that their son was sick so he could then hang up the phone. Now, the next part of this comes the following night, February 24th, when Taylor allegedly threw Dakota's phone against a wall. When he tried to leave, she allegedly followed him into his truck, where she reportedly began attacking him by squeezing his face and even throwing a drink on him. Then on March 17th, Dakota goes to the court to file order against Taylor. And according to TMZ, Taylor's other ex, her former husband, Tate Paul, was also there that same day to file a separate order against Taylor. According to TMZ, this was random, kind of a complete coincidence. But Taylor now alleges this is part of a smear campaign to ruin her reputation and ruin her career opportunities. And I can't say for sure what the truth is there, but I can say some career opportunities have definitely been affected. I mean, right now, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has been pulled. Filming is completely halted. We don't know if there's even going to be another season. And she talked about all of that just this week when she was making her rounds on the morning shows to promote this season of The Bachelorette. So a lot of reporters were asking, hey, what's going on with that show? Taylor says, I don't know. I don't know what the future of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going to be, but she says she's telling and standing by her truth. And then TMZ releases the cell phone video from February 2023, and there is complete and immediate backlash, so much so that ABC canceled The Bachelorette. A statement from Disney Entertainment Television reads, in light of the newly released video just surfaced today, we have made the decision to not move forward with the new season of The Bachelorette at this time, and our focus is on supporting the family. Taylor has since broken her silence about this cancellation and the release of the cell phone video. A statement from her team to People magazine reads, quote, Taylor is very grateful for ABC's support as she prioritizes her family's safety and security. After years of silently suffering extensive mental and physical abuse as well as threats of retaliation, Taylor is finally gaining the strength to face her accuser and taking steps to ensure that she and her children are protected from any further harm. There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous ex-partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives. Taylor has remained silent out of fear of further abuse, retaliation, and public shaming. She is currently exploring all of her options, seeking support, and preparing to own and share her story. Dakota has shared his side of the story too. In a statement to Entertainment Weekly, his team said, quote, his number one priority here is protecting his son. He was just hoping that if he says nothing, as he usually does, it would go away. The statement goes on to say, quote, he knew there was a possibility it could come out, but he was not going to be the one to proactively do that because he has always wanted a decent relationship with Taylor. It's been really hard to achieve that, but he wants to co-parent well. Yikes, this is not what Bachelorette Nation expected leading into the weekend. I mean, there's so much to unpack and talk about. So let's bring on Law and Crime's legal counsel, Elizabeth Vulai, to talk it all out. Elizabeth, great to have you back on Scandal. And this really is a scandal today. Let's start with, what is your reaction to the video that was just recently leaked?
Yeah, the video, it's really heartbreaking in a lot of moments because you hear, their child in the background and being upset and crying, and obviously the violence that's depicted in the video. It's always tough to see. I think reading about allegations of violence are one thing, but to see it black and white and plain video, it just has such more of an immediate impact. So it's really difficult. And again, I know we always say all roads lead back to Diddy in some way. I keep thinking of, obviously the video that came out of him and Cassandra Ventura in that hallway. We had heard so many allegations up until that point, but then when that video came out, I think it just reframed things in people's minds. So I think having that black and white evidence makes a really big impact in the actual legal system, and then also in the court of public opinion. As we see now, the fallout is just continuing for her.
I think that was a really good parallel because, of course, we have the allegations in the Diddy situation. Now he's been convicted, obviously, of some. But when everyone saw that video, we were like, oh, my God. And then here we have Taylor Frankie Paul had been convicted. She reached a plea deal. We all saw the body cam video. I think it was 2 years ago at this point. But now when we saw what happened inside of the home, it really sheds a new light on everything that happened, the allegations, the charges. And I think the biggest surprise for me in all of that is the reports that The Bachelorette is now canceled. We're a couple days out. It was supposed to premiere on Sunday and ABC completely pulls the plug. So my question about this is, they knew that she'd been convicted because she reached a plea deal. She had this situation, the body cam went viral right here on Law and Crime. We talked about it. ABC, of course, had to know about that. So if they already knew about this incident, why now are they just pulling the plug?
Right. I would be so shocked if they didn't have any sort of idea about the incident. So obviously the video is from 2023, as you mentioned. She was charged with both aggravated assault and domestic violence in the presence of a child. She pled guilty to aggravated assault. So that was a few years ago. So you would think, okay, this is all resolved. The video has just been released now. And as I mentioned, I'm sure ABC did their share of background checks. And, obviously she's a person that has a public profile. She was an influencer, a reality TV star. So I'm sure they knew about it. I think just, again, having the impact of the video now being released to the public is what's swaying them to cancel. And, one of the things that I first saw was it's ABC, it's owned by Disney. I think any network would be hesitant to have someone on board that, is shown doing those things in the video as she was depicted, but especially an entity like Disney, which is known to be more family friendly and, all of that.
Right. There are a lot of things to consider because no major company is going to go out and say, yes, we support violence in the home. Of course, we're, going to promote this. They would want to keep an arm's length away. It's just interesting now that they already knew about her conviction. They probably knew about this. It's just the backlash of everyone saying, oh my God, and finally kind of getting a window inside to what actually happened. And I guess I'm wondering about what is the fallout for all of this? Because we know her other show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, has been put on pause. It's kind of in limbo. What's going to happen? Bachelorette completely scrapped, which to me is wild because it was already filmed. It's already edited. And you and I know from working in this, industry, it takes a long time to edit. There's a lot of people whose salaries were tied up in this. The money making of it all, I'm sure ABC wanted people to tune in. So what is the fallout legally here?
Yeah, it's a great point because, as you mentioned, the fallout just in terms of canceling the show is really shocking. I understand why they made the decision, but like you said, the entire season had been filmed. Lots of people's jobs that were tied up in this that now might be out of work. It's also important to note that ABC pays a considerable licensing fee for the show because apparently Warner Brothers produces it, and a lot of marketing and promo that goes into it. I think the fallout is twofold for her in the sense that it's obviously on the professional side. The show was canceled. Apparently her other show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, is now halted filming. So you see, those professional opportunities being halted. And then on the personal end, there were reports that her partner that was shown in the video, who she shares a child with, had filed for temporary custody, also a restraining order. So I think the legal fallout will be primarily within that sector. In terms of, the professional side, I don't think there's going to be any sort of legal fallout there. I don't foresee, a lawsuit happening from any of the networks against her, unless there's something specific in her contract where she's, there are certain contracts that have morality clauses and you sort of make the promise that you won't have anything scandalous or shocking coming out. And if that happens, obviously the network is entitled to break the contract, which might have been what happened here. So I don't think she's going to face sort of legal fallout on the criminal side in terms of the shows, but on the personal side, from what we've seen so far this week, I think there might be.
I mean, a lot of things hang in the balance here, the future of her career, but also the personal side. And something you mentioned too was this protective order or restraining order. And that's really how we got all of this information. So I guess back in February, there was allegedly this incident that had happened February of this year. And her ex kind of estranged boyfriend, let's say, who she shares the child with, Dakota Mortensen, filed that protective order. That's how TMZ was able to get this video, because he and his team came forward and said, okay, we've got the body cam from the incident. This is another, the cell phone recording that he had. It shows a pattern of abuse. That's why we want this order in place. Now, she says that this is all part of a smear campaign to kind of, I guess, come after her thunder, right? As she's getting on The Bachelorette and, her show is going on Hulu, The Mormon Wives. So what do you take about both of that? The fact that he is putting forward this and saying, I can't have you around my children. I mean, this is a legal document in place. Well, she says it's all just part of a smear campaign.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can see sort of both sides, how they would both make those arguments. I think for him, when the alleged incident happened in February, it makes sense why he would want to file this paperwork now and saying, allegedly his child is in danger. He needs to have temporary custody and kind of supplementing the application with all the evidence he can. In terms of if this is a smear campaign, I don't know if that's necessarily what's going on because, the video surface, these allegations are being shown in black and white on that video. Did he, in terms of timing, did he wait that be around the same time that the show is released so it could have more of an impact? Possibly. Attorneys, they do keep timing of filings in mind, no matter what area of law you practice in. So, if there was sort of a tactic from his legal team of, let's wait to file this so that it comes out at around the time her show is coming out, that way it'll make more of an impact and it'll help your case. It's possible. That's sort of part of the job of an attorney, is to think about not just the actual tasks you need to do, but the strategy and the timing of everything.
And I mean, people obviously are talking about it. TMZ also reported that on this same day when Dakota Mortensen went to file this order, her ex-husband, her first husband, who she shares some children with, he also filed a protective order that allegedly, according to TMZ, it wasn't coordinated in any way. It wasn't calculated. They just both had issues with her, allegedly, and went to the courthouse on the same date. Now, that is interesting to me at the very least. What are your thoughts about the timing there?
Yeah, I think so as well. And I wouldn't be surprised, and we don't know for sure, but if there was some coordination on both of their legal teams, I think in any legal action, if you are making certain allegations or claims, the more people that you have to join in, the better, no matter what area of law you're practicing in. I think that's something that we saw a lot, obviously, within the Me Too movement, when there were 10 people making the same allegations against someone in a lawsuit versus one, it's always going to come out as stronger. So the fact that, they're sort of similar claims here helps both of their cases. Absolutely.
You know, what's interesting to me about all of this is we talked about her conviction from this incident that happened in February 2023. This is where the cell phone video is from. It happened, 3 years ago, if you can believe it at this point. So she ended up with a plea deal. Okay, great. And part of her condition is that she's on probation until August of 2026. So about 5-ish months from now. But Dakota is now saying that there was an incident that happened in February 2026 where she put her hands on him. He felt unsafe for both him and their child, all of that. So I'm wondering if she's already on probation and then there are these new allegations against her, could that affect her maybe facing more charges, her probation be extended, anything like that?
Yeah, it could possibly. Whenever someone is on probation and they get into another altercation, especially if that altercation leads to more charges, they could potentially be implicated about it. And we know that Utah police had confirmed there's a current ongoing investigation. So, if there's new evidence that's coming out, just in general, whether she was on probation or not, it could possibly result in more charges against her, but especially because she's on probation and you have to be obviously on your best behavior, walk a straight line. So if that's coming out now, it could also add potential charges of violating a probation order or parole order.
Obviously you don't want when you're on probation. You mentioned there, you want to walk the straight and narrow. You don't want to stray in any way because of course you don't want to face more charges. And in this case, she kind of has a lot to lose, the fact that she has multiple children with multiple men. I'm just assuming here, but any mother would want to have at least partial custody of their children. So is that something that investigators would have to consider too? Because we've seen the video, we know that she was convicted of this. Clearly she was being violent in the presence of a daughter, by the way, who I guess got hit in all of this. She was 6 with a chair at the time. That's dangerous at the very least. First of all, for Dakota, but also for the kid. So, is that something that the investigators would be focused on primarily, making sure that the kids are in a safe house, and that could potentially mean that Taylor wouldn't have custody?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's one of the things I thought about as well, because, the burden or the sort of the standard for parents to have custody over their children.
My cat is up on my table and she's wanting some fuss. Aren't you, Molly? Molly? You might be able to hear her in a minute. You going to purr into the microphone? I don't know if anyone can hear that. She is purring slightly. And yeah. And then you go and check on my keyboard, won't you?
In courts and in case law, it's actually very, very hard to get children taken away from their parents. And you really have to show, even if someone is, not a good spouse or has been acting badly towards their spouse, you still have to show, are they acting in best interest of the child? And if the child isn't being harmed, then they shouldn't get their custody taken away. Here, as you mentioned in the video, the child, there are allegations that they suffered injuries, that they were hurt, whether or not that was on purpose or not. You could still make the argument that she's posing a danger to her child, right? And her child suffered an injury as a result of that. And because there's video on it, I saw when he had filed for temporary custody just recently this week, that was one of the first things that I thought of. And I really, I think, helped to support that he should be getting custody, at least for right now, right? Because courts also allow opportunities for parents to, to grow, to get better, to get back on their feet, get whatever assistance they may need, whether it's anger management or therapy. But I definitely think that can make a big impact because, again, whether it was on purpose or not, the child was allegedly harmed during this incident. So.
Yeah. And that was one of the charges that she originally faced. I think she had a couple of them. And one was, I don't know the exact statute out of Utah. I'll have it in this episode, of course, but it was something like domestic violence in presence of a child where this is going on. So she was charged with that. Eventually that was dropped though as part of the plea deal, but it at least was acknowledged by prosecutors at the time. And I'm hoping that everyone is, taking care to pay attention just to make sure that the kids first and foremost are really safe in all of this. But to your point, the timeline of everything is kind of crazy that this incident happened back in February. I think I may have slipped a tongue before and said that he filed the protective order back in February. You're right. That did happen just this week, the same day as her ex-husband, Tate Paul. So we've got that going. Bachelorette set to premiere on Sunday. Doesn't really happen. A lot to consider. So I guess this next question is just speculation, Elizabeth, but what do you think is ahead? The legal side of things, the career side of things, could she face more charges? I know we talked about this, but what is just your hypothesis for the future?
Yeah, sure. So that's one of the big things I thought about just when reviewing this case is that it's sort of in terms of the fallout and impact for her. I see it split in both professional and personal. Obviously, those areas intersect a lot for everyone. I think in the professional sense, it's been tough because that's a really, really big franchise. The Bachelorette franchise is a huge show with ABC. A lot of times those opportunities lead to more opportunities. So now that that's been canceled, her other show is on pause. I think there's going to be a pause in opportunities like that, at least for the near future for her. In terms of the actual legal case, I do think there's a strong chance that her current partner will be able to receive at least temporary custody, just given, the video that occurred, and especially because he's alleging that there's been a more recent incident, right? Because if nothing recent had happened and, she was able to say, look, this video is from a few years ago, I've changed since then, I'm become a better mother or partner, whatever it may be, she might not be facing this fallout, but because there's a recent allegation, he could make the claim that this behavior is still ongoing. So I do think there's a possibility that he'll be able to get at least, temporary custody of their child and a restraining order. And again, Utah police have confirmed there's an active investigation going on. So if there was a potential violation of her probation or recent incident, she could possibly face more charges. So I think it's a difficult time for her.
Oh yeah, there's really no doubt about all of that. And I mean, it's hard for anyone, especially when kids are involved too. I'm sure that there's two sides to every single story. She's released a statement saying has been the victim or survivor of domestic violence for years. She's breaking her silence. So that's kind of her side of the story. Then of course we heard Dakota's, and then all of us watched the video, and it's really hard to combat. So I think you really said it in a perfect way. It's a very difficult time for her. One that all eyes are going to be on her to see what the next move is, if there is even another opportunity. Interesting case overall. Elizabeth Vulai, thank you for coming on Scandal and walking us through it.
Thanks so much for having me, Sierra.
So what's ahead for Taylor Frankie Paul? Well, only time will tell. And that means we've now reached the end of this episode of Scandal.
So there's that one. And I'll just share this other one. It's just a bit of news on the thing. Bear with.
Out about that incident earlier this week.
I will say I've been here before and I got through it and, shared my story, my light. So I'm hoping that I can do that again.
Fans of the show reacting to the sudden cancellation.
Bachelorette canceled, Kimmy said.
Overnight, former Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay weighing in.
This is bad for Taylor, personally. This is bad for her children. This is bad for the Bachelor. Because somebody's going to have to take the blame for not vetting this out.
Paul rose to fame through her online videos dubbed Mom Talk and Hulu's reality show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which even showed aftermath of that 2023 domestic violence incident.
What's your name?
Yeah, so that's all our show on that one because we've seen that all before. Let's go back here. So what do you all think? If you can put your comments in the chat, I'd appreciate that. And please like and subscribe to my channel. It just helps me to get out in the algorithms. And you were blessed to see part of my eldest cat, Molly. She's 13 years old and she thinks she's a little diva, don't you? You think you're a princess? Come here then. Molly. If I pick her up, she'll go all camera shy, won't you? Eh? Come here then. Let's have cuddles. It's the end of the show. There she is. Oh, Molly. She says, I don't want to be picked up, Mum. See ya. You don't mind when you're sat on my lap, do you? Eh? So, yeah, here's Molly. Not that you can see her properly. She wants to jump down on my keyboard. Don't press any keys. Kind feet. I love my cats. And I love my dog as well. She sat on my bed, on top of her dog bed, on top of my bed. Right. I shall see you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.